The USC recruiting staff's been on the road for a long time. They've been recruiting, they've been mining for some diamonds. I think they found another defensive diamond in the rough.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin. Thank you for making Locked On USC, part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching this show on YouTube, pick your platform, download this podcast. It's always free. I always appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. So today is National Signing Day. You remember that, right? Remember signing day, February? That special day in February when every college football fan would take an extra holiday, sit in front of the TV, you got some chips, favorite adult beverage. You watched your favorite team scroll by on the Chiron down across the bottom, and you just kept counting the stars. See where your class was going to finish ranked. Well, that's a December thing now. It's all about early signing period. Today, that's what it's all about. Most of your talent, they're putting their name, they're faxing in their letter of intent in December. There's still some guys out there, and USC found another diamond in the rough for their 2025 recruiting class. Yeah, his name is Jaden Ramos. He's a defensive end, comes from the state of Texas, and check this out. This is what his high school coach, Coach Cedric Harden, said. He put this out there on social media. Jaden Ramos is the best defensive end in the state. Don't debate with me. Just check the tape. End quote. Pretty straightforward. It's a pretty declarative statement, right? Jaden Ramos is 6'5". He's 220 pounds. And he announced his commitment on social media on Tuesday. In his brief little statement, he said, I am blessed and thankful to say for the next 3 to 4 years, I will be continuing my academic and athletic career at USC. Thank you to Coach Henderson, Coach Shaun Nua, and the rest of the USC coaching staff for giving me an opportunity. End quote. Jaden is what you would consider a late bloomer. You go back and you look at his junior tape and it's like, okay, there's something there. Or then you go back and you just look at his just completed senior season tape and you're going, okay, it's too bad all those other programs out there filled up their allocation so soon because this guy, again, he was starting to get attention late. His stats for his senior year, not bad. And let me remind everybody, he plays at the highest level of Texas football, 6A. 73 tackles, 18 sacks. Let me say that again. 18 sacks, 18. 36 and a half of his tackles went for a loss. He had 32 quarterback pressures, forced 4 fumbles, and because of that, he was named the 13-6A Defensive Player of the Year. If you're named the 6A Defensive Player of the Year in your section, you're pretty damn good. Like I said, that's the highest level of competition in Texas high school football. He had some late offers, again, not just USC, but he was also getting some big-time attention from Pittsburgh, both Kansas and Kansas State. USC actually made an offer to him back in, I think he was in early January when the coaching staff was on the road recruiting. And Henderson Shaun Nua, they had enough time to develop that relationship, sold the vision, boom, here you go. He made his verbal commitment the day before National Letter of Intent Day. He's a true rush edge. And I think that's a welcome addition in this class for USC. USC's defensive line haul, really nice. But now you're adding a true edge player. You got Jakeem Stewart. He can play outside, but I think he's going to be playing inside more often than not, especially as his body continues to mature. So he's not a true rush edge. You got Gus Cordova, who can play outside, but again, he can also slide inside. I don't see that with Jaden Ramos. I see him staying strictly at the outside in that stand-up rush edge position. And then don't forget, you got Floyd Boucard, who is also an interior defensive lineman in every sense of the word. And then USC brought in those two transfers, Jamal Jarrett from Georgia and Keyshawn Silver, the big dude from Kentucky. So Jaden fills a role. Now, I read you his high school coach's quote at the very beginning of this segment. I followed his advice. I went and watched this film. Again, late bloomer, best way to describe him. He's got a really high ceiling, really athletic, long, but he knows how to bend. He knows how to use his body. He also can beat you more than one way. You know, he's got different techniques, different styles that he'll use at you. He's just not going to bull rush at you. He uses his hands well. He's quick off the snap. If you go watch his playoff game in the highlight reel, yeah, this is when he really stepped it up. In that game, he was going against two guys who are going to be playing in the SEC, part of the 2025 recruiting cycle as well. You have right tackle, his name was Ryan Foji, and the left tackle, Jonte Newman. Ryan was the number 71 and 75. So you have a 4-star in Ryan Foji. He's going to Oklahoma. He was considered the number 76 overall prospect in the class of 2025. And Newman is also a 4-star, the number 317th ranked player. He's going to Texas A&M. When you're watching the film, Ramos is handling those dudes like they're ragdolls. He was having his way with them. You'll notice, like I said, he's 6'5", 220 pounds. When he gets on campus, he's going to be getting a big helping of Little Galen. It's the dining hall that the football team eats at. He's got to beef up. So he's going to be stacking on the calories. And then he's going to be getting an even bigger dose of Benny Wiley just to keep adding on the good weight, to mold him. Now, so you have him coming in. I've been telling you for a couple of weeks now that USC is looking at linebacker AJ Tuatele from Las Vegas, Mojave High School. Unless something extraordinary happens, something drops out of the sky like a big bag. I'm not saying he's following the money, but Texas is the other team involved here, based on who I've been talking to. So SC is going to, hopefully they're going to have AJ Tuatele rounding out the class on Wednesday, signing day. USC is getting ready, to kind of release their list by 11 o'clock today. If you're watching the show Wednesday, February 5th, signing day, definitely by noon, you'll know who's in USC's class. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to do better than the top 15. That's it. They're not going to be able to jump over Penn State. But again, you add a linebacker, position of need, a high riser in the ranks. You found a diamond in the rough that other programs wish they had room for in Jaden Ramos at defensive end, rush edge. It's a nice way to end the 2025 recruiting cycle, right? Trojan fans should be happy. I know they want more. I get it. You guys want a top 5. Let's not forget how USC finished the season last year, okay? Let's not look a gift horse in the mouth. USC wasn't done. They actually added enough. So they were done with, I think I went over their roster personnel as far as players. They're not done adding to the front office. Chad Bowden, he's the general manager USC brought in from Notre Dame. Well, now they went out and snagged Luke Fickell's dude away, the guy from Wisconsin. His name is Max Steinecker. He's coming in, and his title is going to be the Trojans' Executive Director of Personnel. Not sure exactly what that means, but I guess it's self-explanatory. Max Steinecker, Chad Bowden, they worked previously together at Cincinnati. Looks like Cincinnati knows how to churn out general manager talent. When he graduated from Cincinnati in 2021, yeah, he's a young dude. He first served as a student assistant director of recruiting. He's a young dude. That's all I'm going to say. But he's a high riser. He, like I said, graduated in 2021. He was named one of On3's 2022 Rising Star Personnel Staffers and one of 247's 2023 30 under 30 guys. So basically, if you're under 30 years old, you're being recognized for being young, but being good at what you do, and they're kind of forecasting you doing well in the industry. So now USC, you've got one more person to handle some of those behind the scenes duties, the stuff that a head coach used to be responsible for. So you're strengthening your front office. You're especially with guys who like to recruit. So again, total benefit there. Just got to see how it all works out. Make sure nobody's stepping on toes. Other staff members who have been around at USC don't feel like they're being pushed aside. I'm going to talk about that maybe on another show because it's a little nuanced. But anyways, forget I said anything right now. And then there was one other coaching maneuver. One more coaching maneuver we're going to talk about before we close out this segment, excuse me. Luke Huard. He is now USC's offensive coordinator. I think this is this is probably a reward for keeping USC in the Husan Longstreet recruitment. He was a major factor in this. I told you about this, when that whole thing broke down, how USC was able to secure his commitment. But Luke was also the only coach on staff last year who was up in the booth, upstairs. So he's bringing a different perspective, seeing it from the eye in the sky. We all know Coach Riley is still going to be the offensive play caller. But again, I think this is a little bit of a reward for, helping USC get Husan Longstreet. And also, you want to start padding your resume. Last year, he was USC's quarterback coach. Now he is USC's quarterback coach / offensive coordinator. Here's the rest of USC's coaching staff and their full title that you'll see on their door. So I just went over Luke Huard. You got Zach Hansen, offensive line coach, simple enough. Dennis Simmons, assistant head coach, pass game coordinator / wide receivers coach. You have Anthony Jones, running backs coach / running game coordinator. Chad Savage, tight ends coach / inside receivers coach. Antonlynn, defensive coordinator. Eric Henderson, co-defensive coordinator / run game coordinator / defensive line coach. You have Rob Ryan, assistant head coach for defense / linebackers coach. Doug Belk, secondary coach. Trovon Reed, cornerbacks coach. Shaun Nua, defensive ends coach. So there's your coaching staff for 2025. Went over some new additions. And now we're going to talk about those guys helping USC get over the hump. USC's got their over-under out. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. Are you looking for tickets? Are you going to go to any USC games this year? Whatever big event you want to go to. NBA, NHL. You want to go to a comedy show? You need to check out Game Time Picks. It's never been easier to get the best seat in the house at the lowest price available. Here's how it works. It's super easy. Game Time Picks has this app that does the work for you. It curates everything. It's only going to show you the best seats, and then you're just going to pay the lowest price. I mean, it's that simple. And my favorite feature, if you ever listen to the show, I've told you, it's the view your seat feature. So you know exactly what you're going to be seeing before you check out. And here's the best part. Game Time guarantees you're going to have the lowest price. If you find a better ticket in the same section and row for less, they're going to credit you 110% of the difference. I mean, what's stopping you? What's holding you up here? Let's make the next event you go to better. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, use that code LOCKEDONCollege, and you're going to get $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets. Lowest price. Guaranteed. Our friends over there at FanDuel. Yeah, this isn't a commercial. Not an ad right now. But they did release their over-under win total for, they gave us a list of 20 teams here. Here's the over-under for these 20 teams. Ohio State, 10.5. Oregon, 10.5. Notre Dame, 10.5. Penn State, 10.5. Your 9.5 club. You've got Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Clemson. Then you've got a group with 8.5. Alabama, LSU, Michigan, Indiana, Louisville, Miami. USC checks in with a 7.5 club. That includes North Carolina with their new head coach, Bill Belichick, Kansas, and then 6.5, you have Florida, Colorado, Iowa. So again, that's the win totals. You're going over or under on that one. Are you ready to put your money where your mouth is? Is that 7.5 an easy over pick? It should be. In my mind, it is. I'd slam that over. Let me break it down for you. Let me show you why you should take whatever money you can find in your couch cushions, whatever you got in your wallet, in your pocket, find it. If USC is not 3-0 coming out of the box, I mean, you got Missouri State at home, you got Georgia Southern at home, and then you go on the road to Purdue. If USC is not 3-0, Riley is going to be in a heap of trouble. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat that one. And God help him. God help everybody. If Clay Helton's square-jawed Warriors show up, pull one of those Appalachian State type of upsets, yeah, that instant reaction show is going to be a lot of fun if that ever happens. It's not going to happen. Let's not even talk that into the existence. And then you come home, you got Michigan State. That's 4 wins right there, right? Right? I know Northwestern isn't going to jump up and trip USC like Maryland or Minnesota or Washington. I know those 3 games were on the road, but Northwestern's not going to beat USC, right? So now you're 5 wins. You need 2.5 more to get to 7.5. Where are they going to come from? I've got USC with 5 wins. Here's your balance of the schedule. You've got your home games, Michigan, Iowa, UCLA. You've got 4 games on the road, Illinois, Nebraska, Notre Dame, Oregon. Not in that order, but those are those 4 road games. I think it would be a disaster down the stretch if USC went 3-4. You'd get your 8 wins, but I mean, it's kind of like you're limping across the finish line like they did in 2024. It's not really showing signs of improvement. Yes, 8-4 is better than 7-6. I get it. But 8-4, that doesn't cut it at USC. We all know that. I'm not telling you anything new. Obviously, they go 4-3. Now you're at 9 wins. Looks better. But yeah, look, you have to win your home games, right? You've got 7 of those. You have 7 home games in 2025. Win those. Can you win half a game on the road out of 5? You have to win at home. I mean, if there's one thing Coach Riley has to get cleaned up, is USC allowing other teams to leave with a win. I mean, 2023 was a disaster. And then last season, you had a couple of gut punch losses. Obviously, that one to Penn State. They were driving to tie the score against Notre Dame until the roof fell in. So if USC can go undefeated at home, that's 7. So if USC can go 2-2 against Illinois, Notre Dame, Nebraska, Oregon, okay, now you're at 9-3. You go 3-1, that's a 10-win season. And if you got 10 wins, you're 10-2, I'll see you in that 12-team playoff field. I'll guarantee it. So here's my advice. Go make your play right now. Go lock in your future winnings. 7.5. FanDuel. That's the over-under. Where are you going with that? You'd have to do a really good job convincing me to take the under. That's a hard sell. Again, go undefeated at home. Tell me you're not going to get 1 win on the road. which would be terrible. You're going to have 8 wins. You're going to get the over, but you can't get 2. Can't go 9-3. You can't go 3-1 out of Illinois, Notre Dame, Nebraska, Oregon. It's not out of the question. Let me know. Hit me up in the comments section. Tell me what you think. Break it down for me. All right, we got one more segment to go. Did you happen to watch the men's hoops game against Northwestern Tuesday? Yeah. Yeah, heavy sigh. USC lost 77-75, and it was a tough loss. They came back. They trailed for literally 38 minutes of the game. They tied it up at 75 when Clark Slackert, the transfer from Penn State, he was starting in this game. He knocked down a 3 and 1. There was less than a minute to play. So he made the 3, and it was a deep 3. I mean, it was NBA deep 3 range. It might have been deeper than NBA range. But he was also fouled, knocked that free throw down. Game was tied at 75. Timeout. Some dude named Nick Martinelli from Northwestern. He got the ball down near the baseline. About under 10 seconds, he worked his way through, split the defense, made a little 10-footer, and then USC had the ball with roughly 3 seconds, just under 3 seconds to play in the game. Nick Martinelli is actually a pretty good player. 6'7", 220 pounds. He's been averaging 19 points, almost 6 rebounds per game. He finished this game with 27 points. He was the dude. So coming out of that timeout, USC had a chance to tie the score or, take the kill shot, take the 3. Clark Slackert had the ball. He was near he was going down the sideline about at half court. He dribbled the ball off the defender's foot. The ball went out of bounds. Clock expired. And USC's chance for another quad 1 win on the road was dead. Now, I should let everybody know, USC probably wins this game if they played with Desmond Claude. He sat out the game. He had a bruised calf. That probably happened in their last game, the win at home against Michigan State. Remember, he left the court for a few, something looked bad. Hopefully, he'll be ready to play when USC takes on Purdue later this week. They're a much, 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 much better squad than Northwestern. Top 10. I think they're number 7 in the country right now. They're bigger than Northwestern as well. So USC has their work cut out for them. This was the game USC had to win, and they let it slip away. And they were down by double digits in the second half. They trailed by 2 at halftime. And they probably would lead at halftime if they weren't so bad rebounding the ball. My God, especially offensively. They allowed 14 offensive rebounds in the first half alone. They allowed 7 on 1 possession. And on that possession, I think they got so tired that they ended up fouling the guy on the 8th shot, and it led to a pair of free throws that Northwestern dropped. So again, in this game, it was the usual suspects hurting, SC's chances for the win. Rebounding, free throw shooting. These numbers are going to be gross. So now, as far as USC shooting the ball from the field, they were pretty good. They were 51% from the field. They were better from three-point line. 50%. They made 9 out of 18. They held Northwestern just 41% shooting. 32% from deep, from beyond the arc. Here's the difference. Here's where they made it up. USC's free throw shooting, they were 67%. Northwestern, not great, but 74%. USC was 14 out of 21. Northwestern, 17 for 23. Here's what killed USC. It wasn't that the turnovers. It was only 9-7. USC had 9, Northwestern 7. But it was the rebounding department. Total rebounds for USC, 27. Total rebounds for Northwestern, 43. Offensive rebounds, 23 for Northwestern, 7 for USC. Those 23 offensive rebounds led to 24 second half points. Do the math. Make a couple more free throws, grab a few more rebounds. You leave Evanston, Illinois with a win. It's that simple. You got that quad win on the road. You're 14 wins total. You're on the plus side in conference play. You're 6-5 rather than 5-6. It's unfortunate. USC just doesn't have any size right now. You know, they got nothing from Josh Cohen. He's their biggest guy, you know, as far as length, as far as height. He's what, 6'10"? He was in the game for a total of 3 minutes. It just happened, those 3 minutes just happened to coexist with that 8 shot attempt possession that Northwestern had. I know I've mentioned this before. I've coached high school basketball. I've been watching hoops longer than I coached. But for the life of me, I will never understand how guards can shoot lights out from distance, but are inconsistent free throw shooters. I'll never understand that. Clark, again, he played out of his mind. He was filling in for Desmond Claude, excuse me. Played great. He had a team high 24 points, 9 for 11 from the field, 4 for 4 from beyond the arc. I told you about that 4-point play to tie the game at 75. But he also missed 2 free throws earlier in the game in the second half when he was fouled on a 3-point attempt. He only made 1. I'm not putting the loss on his shoulders. I hope it's not coming across that way. I was trying to just emphasize that point. How can guys be so deadly from deep, from the outside? But when you give them you line them up at the charity stripe, 15 feet away, it's a free throw. And that's when they just, I don't know if it's a mental thing, what it is. It's bizarre to me. As long as I've been watching basketball, that one will just be one of those mysteries of the world, I guess. Kind of right up there with how many licks does it get to the center of a Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Pop, whatever. This just felt like one of those losses from the football team this year. It was just one of those gut punch type of losses. In the second half, I mean, again, there was that one sequence when the defense was doing everything they were supposed to do, working hard. They forced a desperation 3-pointer, and then they gave up that offensive rebound and eventually free throws. Again, this game, they were one play away here, a poor officiating call there. The defense just breaking down at the very end. It was, welcome to USC football fan emotions 2024, rolling into the 2025 basketball season. I shouldn't really be, I'm not harshing on them. I'm a huge fan of the guys. They play hard. They're giving their effort. It's not for a lack of effort. But this team it's 13 guys from the transfer portal trying to figure it out. And when your best player, your quote point guard isn't in the game, can't play, you're handicapped. That's what I said. If Desmond plays in this game, they probably win. They probably win this game. We'll see what kind of minor miracle they can pull out when they get to West Lafayette and play Purdue. And I'll let you know what happens after that game. So, you're watching this episode. It's National Letter of Intent Day. We know we've got Jaden Ramos. Welcome. 6'5", 220-pound edge from Texas. We're hoping AJ Tuatelli is the last guy to join the class. It'll be a pretty good 2025 recruiting cycle for USC. And don't forget, you got that transfer portal down and coming around the corner in April and spring. We'll see what happens there. All right, I'll be back with another episode of Locked on USC tomorrow. Kind of wrap up everything that's going on with recruiting, signing day, and anything else that comes down the note. So don't forget, when you're done making Locked on USC your first listen every day, get over there to weareusc.com. Got all that written content for you. You're going to have Scott Schrader's recruiting recap, Eric McKinney, myself, and get on over there to the Locked On show, the Big Ten squad show. I was on it again. Tell me what you think. Talk football. I don't think we mentioned basketball. We'll talk basketball here. All right. Till the next episode, everyone, you know what to do.